So, hello and welcome back to our Lives of the NPCs, where we have an interesting grouping. And this one, it started because I was taking a Blood Elf character through the starting zone, and I was exploring the starting zone, just kind of poking around, looking at everything, and I happened across this family of Blood Elves that are just on the shore behind the monument to Kale's father. And I was like, what on earth are they there for? So I looked, and honestly, they don't have a lot of story to them, which makes me really sad. But that led me down my own rabbit hole. The first one that you see Jane and her what looks like twin sister Nova. And they're just kind of wandering around, picking up seashells, looking at the seashells. They periodically will talk to each other. Nova will say things like, "Can you really hear the ocean from these shells?" Or, "I think I can see the sun well from here." Or, "Jane will love this one." And evidently, there are a couple different theories about at least Jane and Nova. The first theory is that Nova might be named after the character from StarCraft, because she does have a cat. Her cat's name is Manny. There's not much lore on either of the cats. It's just Manny and Kitty. And the other theory is that they are a nod to Final Fantasy VII, and Jane and Nova together form Genova. So that got me thinking about Final Fantasy, and that's how we get to the rest of the video. Now, their father, Jessel, is just found there. He's usually asleep, but he does wake up every so often, where he describes his dreams, which sound a little bit more like they could be nightmares. He describes dreams involving the Azure-Mist Isles, Outland, and Zul'Aman, which were all areas that were included in the Burning Crusade, which was where the Blood Elves first came. And he says, Was it all a dream? Azure Mist, Blood Mist, Zangarmarsh, Shadow Moon, even Zul'Aman. Jane, where are you?" And then Jane says, "I'm right here, Daddy. You've been asleep all day long. You sure must be tired." And then he says, "Wonderful. It was just a dream." And then he goes back to sleep. And I went to the forums, I went everywhere that I could, trying to find out if there was anything else lore-wise about these characters, and I have found nothing. Although a lot of people in the forums have given him his own backstory, saying that maybe he's a widower who is a veteran of the wars, and now he's just having nightmares, like PTSD flashbacks about all the things that he's seen, and he wakes up looking for his children. I think that's absolutely beautiful. So that is the Blood Elf family and the mystery behind it. But then I was thinking about Jane and Nova, and the fact that people think that they are a tribute to Genova from Final Fantasy VII, and I decided to take the rabbit hole a little bit further and look into some of the other Final Fantasy VII references in World of Warcraft. And there aren't too many of them, but there are some. The first and most obvious being the Hawkstrider mounts that are the Blood Elf racial mount, that look so much like chocobos from Final Fantasy. Now, Blood Elf Hawkstriders are almost exclusively Horde-only mounts. There are a few that the Alliance can get, and one of them that the Alliance can get is the Void one, if you have Void Elves, And another one that the Alliance can get is the Swift White Hawkstrider, which is one of my only rare mounts, so forgive me for pulling it out. But it does look a lot like a chocobo, as you can see. You know, chocobos are yellow, and Hawkstriders tend to come in all different colors. And forgive my ignorance if chocobos come in other colors, because I've only seen Advent Children. I've never actually played Final Fantasy. I know I'm a terrible video game nerd. I'm a WoW nerd, not really a video game nerd. So anyway, so that is our Hawkstrider / Chocobo connection between World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy, but that is not the only connection. Because if you go to Northrend Dalaran, you can find Aerith Primrose. She is a human florist. She is located in Runeweaver Square in Dalaran. And evidently, when Dalaran is above Deadwind Pass, there are quotes from her, I'm guessing going back to Classic, where she says, I don't know what's gotten into the flowers. I've stopped trying to collect them once they started, well, they started collecting themselves. Strange, isn't it? And Aerith is definitely a reference to Aerith Gainsborough, who is the major character in Final Fantasy VII, and they wear a very similar outfit. And in Final Fantasy, Aerith originally appears as a flower seller. Also, fun little trivial fact, she is the only florist who sells the 6 standard bouquets and nothing else. And also, supposedly, Khadgar once wrongly accused her of being an infiltrator, which is interesting, and perhaps why, when Dalaran moves to Legion, she gets herself a bodyguard. So we head to Legion and we see the most obvious of the Final Fantasy VII references, and that is Korond. He is obviously a reference to Cloud Strife, and I'm actually really impressed by how very similar his sword looks to Cloud's Buster Sword. And even though Korond has the voice of a normal blood elf, he has the glowing blue eyes of a Death Knight. And this is supposedly a reference to Cloud's Mako-infused blue eyes, which glow a little bit and are commented on by a few characters in Final Fantasy VII. So there we go. Those were the Final Fantasy VII crossover references that I found in World of Warcraft. Now, let me know in the comments down below if there are more that I've missed, because it wouldn't surprise me with how many pop culture references are in this wonderful game. Thank you for watching. Leave me a thumbs up if you don't mind. It does always make me smile. And if you have an NPC that you would like me to dig a little bit more deeply into, drop it in the comments down below, because I'm having so much fun doing this. But as always, thank you, and I will see you later.